Coming up on AEA Amplified, Senior Vice President of Sales for Innovative Aeros Systems, Larry Riddle.
From the Aircraft Electronics Association, this is AEA Amplified, a podcast for aviation's technology experts, with your host, Jeff Hill.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of AEA Amplified, sponsored by Blackhawk Aerospace, your one-stop, nose-to-tail upgrade, service, sales, and MRO support network for light turbine aircraft. Because the best in the air starts with the best on the ground. Are you ready to outfly the ordinary? Learn more at blackhawk.aero. Thanks for tuning in. This is episode number 61, and today is Thursday, June 18th, 2026, and our guest is Larry Riddle, the Senior Vice President of Sales for Innovative Aeros Systems. Good friend of mine, gotten to know him over the years. I'm sure many AEA members are very well familiar with Larry. But before we start, Larry, for those listeners who don't know you or have never met you, if you could just take a second and introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about your career path over the last 3 decades or so.
Yeah, that's incredible. I've become that guy. You know, you're the old guy now walking around at trade events and everything else where you go within the industry, and it's like 30 years. So yeah, it's been a long time. I've been fortunate enough to stay in Grand Rapids, which is my home city, and started out at BF Goodrich Aerospace, and then BF Goodrich didn't like the association with the mix-up between tires and the aerospace division, so they said, we're going to just go with Goodrich Aerospace, and I spent some time there, and then L3 bought that division. So really, I parked in the same spot between BF Goodrich Aerospace to L3 for about 22, 23 years. Started in at the bottom rung as a regional sales account rep, selling TCAS 1 systems to the regional market. And from there, I worked my way up to the VP of Sales and Marketing role. Then after leaving L3, spent a few years consulting, and then had the fortunate opportunity to come on board with Innovative Solutions and Support, which now we've rebranded to Innovative Aeros Systems. And I'm on, amazingly, the time's gone by really fast. So this is my 5th year with Innovative. Enjoying it very much. That entire career span, it's, selling to anything. So basically, if it flies, I've been associated with it. Fixed rotor, VGA market, commercial market, military, OEM, aftermarket. And then along the way, I've been part of some really, really great teams and some great brands. It's been very rewarding. Absolutely love it.
That's hard to believe you've already been there 5 years. I guess time flies when you're having fun.
It absolutely does.
All right. So Innovative Aeros Systems, you said it's been rebranded to that. Give us a quick overview about the company and explain your overall avionics portfolio for us.
Sure. So they're headquartered in Exton, Pennsylvania, which is about a stone's throw outside of Philadelphia. Innovative Aeros Systems, we serve every segment of aviation: general aviation, business aviation, commercial air transport, military, OEM, aftermarket. So we've got great coverage across the market side, a very wide spectrum of a customer base, all the way now with some of the mom and pop shops, the MROs, all the way up to the big titans of Lockheed Martin and Boeing. Very strong portfolio of products. Started out with air data, but all of our products focus on reliability and aircraft performance tied to safety. The product families, we've got the autopilots, we have auto throttles, flight deck displays, again, across the BGA segment and also the air transport segment and the military segment as well. Standby displays, ADAHRs, air data, navigation, communication, surveillance, power generation, data concentrators. So basically, we've got dang near the whole vertical so we can offer up integrated avionics packages.
Yeah, and it also sounds like the company just continues to grow and get bigger. I know that you all have completed several acquisitions really in a relatively short period of time. If you go back to, I think it was February 23rd of this year, which is about 4 months ago, you all announced that you had acquired the S-Tech 3100 autopilot product line. So tell us what made S-Tech an attractive addition for the company there.
One, it's got a very strong brand. It's a recognized brand. It's got a great reputation for reliability, the performance, and ease of use. And it aligns perfectly with what we want to do is supporting aircraft owners and operators. So it was just an ideal fit, and we felt like it was also an opportunity to grow the product line. So we believe, grab S-Tech, continue that brand, and grow the business. We also looked at too, where you've just got an opportunity to expand across some other newer platforms that weren't currently addressed. So we think, again, it's just a very target-rich environment to grow the business.
Yeah, so talk a little bit more about that, the S-Tech 3100, and kind of how it really fits into the long-term vision and becoming a provider of fully integrated avionics and flight control solutions.
So as you may recall, too, we also have the Liberty integrated flight deck. So to complete the vertical, having autopilot technology as a part of that is key. So that's, another element why we brought the 3100 brand into our portfolio. But autopilots are no longer standalone systems either. So that's why it also makes sense to fold it into an integrated package. They're just becoming that central hub that connects everything. It's starting to become more of the brain of your navigation, your flight management, and all the other safety systems, and then also help driving to reduce pilot workload. So it just makes sense all around. And it's just, again, a highly capable platform that we continue to improve upon, both through product enhancements and then just growing the market and getting more STCs.
And I know when the announcement was made, you all specifically noted and talked about certification expansion. So how significant is the market opportunity for bringing that 3100 to additional aircraft models?
Very significant. Again, like I mentioned, it's a target-rich environment, which is exciting for somebody who heads up a sales organization. When you see opportunities and you're getting a lot of the inbound calls where, owner-operators are actually asking you, hey, what about this? What about this? Have you considered this? And then it's great because those opportunities don't come along very often. So we really want to capitalize and address it and also demonstrate to the market that, hey, the 3100 is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. So you want to enable and give that element for those people that already have 3100 systems out there, that they don't have an orphan system on their aircraft. It's here to stay. We're going to support it. We're going to improve it, and we're going to grow it.
And speaking of the operators, so for the existing S-Tech operators who are out there, they may wonder about, I guess, some of the changes that are coming for them, particularly maybe with technical support moving forward. So tell us kind of what remains the same for the aircraft owners, dealers, and installers, and maybe what might be different, if anything.
Well, they certainly can expect, the continued support for their 3100s. It's not going away. We're here to pick up the phone. We're also here to learn and hear about, people's the good, the bad, the ugly on the system, so we can learn and rectify those situations. But the nice thing about innovative Aeros systems, we've always been, had a focus on what we can do better. So we're going to invest in everything across the board to ensure that, customer support is world-class support. Tech support is also following that same line. Dealer calls in an owner-operator, we can give them the answers that they need. Dealers, MROs, the shops that do the installs are fully qualified and fully knowledgeable about this system, so they can adequately address their customers' concerns. So that investment's going across the support, it's going across product development, and it's going across certification, like the new STCs that I mentioned.
Yeah, and you mentioned the dealers there, and I know you work closely with the shops. Of course, you're at the AEA convention. Many of the shops know you, but what opportunities do you see specifically for the avionics shops and those AEA members that are out there that currently install and support those S-Tech systems?
Well, I don't want to give away too much here because we can always have another opportunity to talk about that. But I can tell you there's several STCs that we're eyeing that we want to get on the engineering schedule and get cranking on, just because, again, the demand is there, target rich. So new STCs equal more to offer for those MRO shops and those dealers to install. That's the installation opportunities, it's incredible to know that here we are in the next couple of years have a real opportunity to put some real force and recognition into some of these other airframes that we want to go after. And hey, at the end of the day, these MRO shops, when they're increasing their business, making customers happy, that usually leads to repeat business.
You got it. Yes, sir. And I know that in addition to that STEC 31 acquisition, if we move ahead a couple of months into April, I believe it was April 2nd, the company announced news regarding some Honeywell acquisitions. So tell us about those deals with Honeywell and how they fit into your broader growth strategy and why they're important additions to your portfolio.
Yeah. So again, the Honeywell acquisitions, it was part of our growth strategy. We wanted access to an established customer base. Again, being a supplier to a Lockheed Martin, a huge supplier, like the F-16 was a product line that we acquired from. It wasn't the F-16, the fighter, but there was a flight control computer, mission computer, and display generators that we are now providing to Lockheed for the F-16 platform. So that enabled us for an extremely established customer base and to serve somebody like Lockheed Martin to show, hey, we can do this. That'll create an opportunity for them to come to us and maybe get another new product opportunity. The couple other product lines that we grabbed from Honeywell, the Primus 2 comm and nav products, that was across the business aviation and some military platforms, and then also a 10 MCU IRU, which has, it's been out there for a while, and it's across dozens of platforms, primarily on the Boeing side, the 47, 57, 67, the 37, some business jets, and there's also some Airbus platforms out there as well. And then the last Honeywell product line we got was a power system generator for the F-15, the Boeing 767, and then the mill version, the KC-46. And then, of course, we've already talked about the STEC 3100. And then the latest one is some of the older Bendix King product lines. If some of you all are going to be familiar with some of the comms and the autopilots, the MFD and the transponder product lines that was associated with that, those are now in our portfolio as well.
Very good. Well, once again, we are visiting with Senior Vice President of Sales for Innovative Aero Systems, Larry Riddle, here on AA Amplified, sponsored by Blackhawk Aerospace. And Larry, let me ask you, I think you touched on this just a little bit, but let me follow up and maybe take a deeper dive into it. In terms of the technology and integration, how important is system integration becoming as those aircraft owners that are out there are seeking complete cockpit modernization solutions rather than just standalone upgrades?
Yeah, it's actually a great question, and we could probably spend another podcast talking about it. But I think that integration, it's really truly become one of the most important factors driving some of these purchasing decisions by owners. They want systems that communicate seamlessly, effortlessly, intuitively. So being part of that overall vertical where you can combine all these technologies, knowing, hey, they all talk to one another, I think is an advantageous piece to have. And also even having the ability to have that open architecture to where you can talk to another third-party supplier that might not come out of Innovative Aero Systems. I think that's also an advantage. But customers are expecting all those things to communicate seamlessly, not just merely from a pilot perspective, but also from the shop. Somebody who needs to work on something really wants just one number to call. And if you can still talk to maybe a third-party system that wasn't designed by you and you can troubleshoot it and talk through it, I think that's an advantage as well. And that trend is going to continue to, I believe, accelerate. That entire, for lack of a better term, ecosystem that you have on your aircraft, it all has to talk and communicate effectively.
Well, and continuing to look ahead and ask you to put your crystal ball on a little bit more here. If you look down the road 5 to 10 years, what do you think the next generation of autopilot systems will be capable of that pilots may not expect today?
Well, it might be a dirty word, but I still think, the whole autonomy and the element of AI coming in the cockpit, where it's doing more of those predictive type technologies that are just, again, going to help pilots anticipate and avoid hazards. But, whether it's navigating or getting weather information or terrain, obstacle, or traffic, I think that is slowly going to creep its way into where it's common to have that element of AI and autonomy on the flight deck.
And just a couple more questions. All right, if you could leave the aircraft owners and operators out there listening and the avionics professionals with just one message about what you think the future of autopilot technology is, or really anything else aviation related, what would that be?
Again, I've done this for the last 3+ decades. The technology, it evolves quickly. I think the one takeaway for both, pilots and anybody involved on the maintenance side is don't let a knowledge gap exist, where you step away or you might not be paying that close attention to how things are evolving in the marketplace. You can lose out. If you went to sleep for 2 years and came back, you might have a knowledge gap. So even from, flying, that knowledge gap, if you've been out of the left seat for a while, you feel it. And I think the same can be said on the maintenance, the MRO side. So trying to stay up to speed as to what's in the field today and then anticipating what might be coming your way, it's a natural transition. So when you start to see that next, Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4, you're aware of it. So I guess for me, avoid the knowledge gap.
And a final thought before we let you go, is there anything we haven't discussed today that you just think is really important for the aviation community to understand and know about innovative aerosystems? The acquisitions, they're not isolated transactions. They're part of our broader overall strategic commitment and investment strategy that, hey, we want these aviation technologies to enable our business for growth. We want to create that long-term value proposition for our customers, aircraft owners, operators, dealers. We want to make that impact. And we're going to continue to support these products that we're acquiring. The strategy isn't to harvest or to increase overall prices and just milk the market. We want to take away from something to demonstrate to the market that Innovative Aerosystems is here to stay. We're here to support your fleet, and we want you to know who we are and that we're a very capable organization delivering fantastic customer support and fantastic products. Well, Larry, thanks for your time and hopping on here for a few moments here on AEA Amplified. And I would tell everybody that you can learn more about all the great things that are happening at Innovative Aerosystems. You can check them out online at iascorp.com. That is iascorp.com. And before we sign off, let me remind our listeners and the AA membership out there that, believe it or not, registration is now open for all 6 of the AA regionals later this year. Please join us for 2 days of training at a location near you. You can learn more about each of those 6 locations at aea.net/regionals. And finally, the AA does have several opportunities to elevate your avionics expertise. There are a lot of training courses taking place both in person here at association headquarters as well as virtual live classes. So if you're unable to travel, that's a great opportunity to take advantage of. Seating is limited on all of those. So check out the course schedule and enroll today at aea.net/training. And that is going to wrap it up for today. I hope you can join us again soon for another episode of AEA Amplified, sponsored by Blackhawk Aerospace, your one-stop, nose-to-tail upgrade, service, sales, and MRO support network for light turbine aircraft. Because the best in the air starts with the best on the ground. Are you ready to outfly the ordinary? Learn more at blackhawk.aero. Thanks again to Larry Riddle for joining us. And until next time, for our producer engineer, Aaron Ward, this is your host, Jeff Hill, wishing you blue skies ahead. So long, everybody.